Namaskar, hello and a very warm welcome to CIET NCERT's live phone and interactive program. I am Tanvi Khurana and this is our special series on virtual labs. Well, today we are going to talk about this particular topic, that is demonstration of simulation on factorial iterative. Yes, computer science is the topic for all the students studying in class 11th, and we are going to show you certain simulations on Diksha. Yes, virtual labs have made definitely our lives much easier, and how one can use these labs, how one can operate, how one can self-assess. There are multiple things to do on virtual labs, but how are you going to do that? How simulations work? Everything will be answered in this particular program. And if you have any questions, queries, please raise your voices. You can give us a call on our number, that is 8800 440 559. And if you want to if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, that is NCERT Official, then you can write down your questions on the live chat box. Apart from this, you're watching us on PM eVidya channel number 6 to channel number 12. And also, if you have an email ID and you want to email us your queries, the email ID would be diksha.training@ciet.nic.in. Everything is being displayed on your screens as well in the form of ticker. So throughout the program, you can have access to these particular platforms from where you can get in touch with us. So let me please welcome our expert for today. We have with us Miss Shweta Bhardwaj. Ma'am, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, and a very warm welcome to all the learners as well who are joining us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am is a consultant technical from Central Institute of Educational Technology, that is CIET NCERT, New Delhi. So let's begin this conversation without further ado, and let me ask ma'am, can you give us a brief overview about what exactly are we going to understand, learn in this particular program?
Absolutely. So as we can know that virtual labs are completely transforming the way we are teaching and learning. So in this scenario, we are going to understand that how we can find factorial of any given number using iterative approach using virtual labs. As virtual labs are making education more engaging, accessible. So we will be understanding the simulation of a Python program. We will be understanding the code of Python program and how the actual process happening.
Okay, so we would like to know more about it, and we would like to know that what kind of setup or resources are required for students and even teachers to start using virtual labs.
Yes, sure. So this is the beauty of virtual labs, that how virtual labs are making the education more accessible because they require minimal resources. In order to access virtual labs, all the learners require laptop, mobile phone, or maybe even tab. They require a stable internet connection, and at last they require a web-based portal like our Diksha portal, where we have the repository of all the virtual labs. So using all these tools, you can make education more interesting and engaging.
Great. Ma'am, would you like to show us the simulation on Diksha?
Sure. So before hitting the simulation, let me apprise the learners that what is factorial, how we can find factorial, and in real life where we see factorial. So first of all, let me make the learners understand that factorial of any given number like this, it can be denoted by using this exclamation mark, is the product of all the numbers from 1 up to that particular number. So let me also write the formula. So we start with 1 until we reach the number itself. We will keep on multiplying the numbers. So the product ultimately will be, the result is the factorial. So let me take any number 5. So we will keep on multiplying the numbers till we get 1. And the product, the final product will be the factorial of number 5. And where do we see this factorial in real life? In real life, whenever we have to see the arrangements, the possibilities, that in how many ways something can happen or something can be done, where we use factorial. So now we are almost ready to access the virtual labs on Diksha navigation. All right. So we are on Google, and the learners can type diksha.gov.in. From there, they can land on the home page of Diksha. If we will scroll down, in the focus areas of Diksha, we have virtual labs. So we all have to click here and it will land us on the page of virtual labs. So here we have some information of virtual labs, and if we scroll down, we can see that the content is being segregated class wise. So today we are going to explore the concept of grade 11 computer science. So after selecting computer science, it will redirect me on the page where I have collection of simulations. So we will be exploring factorial, iterative. So if you will click on factorial, iterative, it will further give you explanation resources. And here we have the link. So if you will click on this, here we can access the virtual lab for finding the factorial. Now clicking factorial will further redirect us to this page where we can see that we have several tabs. So we can see that virtual labs can be integrated in the pedagogy of computer science, just like teachers teach in the classrooms. And even in the absence of teachers, a child can navigate virtual labs because it has pre-lab sessions, performance lab sessions, as well as post-lab session. So if a child does not know anything about Python, he or she can still navigate virtual labs, because here we can see that we have theory, procedure, video. So all these resources are going to acquaint a child about the concept of it. So today's aim is to implement a program that computes the factorial of any given number. So I just told you that factorial of any number n can be found out by multiplying the number from 1 up to that number. So after this, a child can also go through all the instructions, because in programming we have so many symbols, so many programming constructs. So a child can be familiarized that if we have a variable, assign operator is used to assign some value to the variable. We will be understanding about load and store symbols very soon. And ultimately, very important concept, learning outcomes. So after this module, a child can gain insight into how to get from the user using the input function in Python. Understand the concept of indentation. We know that in C and C++ languages, we use braces and parentheses. But in Python, we do not have parentheses. We use indentation, gaps to declare the block codes. And then we will understand a very important concept of while loop, because I told you that we have to keep on multiplying the number. This is a repetitive process. So in order to repeat certain set of codes, we have to make use of while loop. So once a learner is apprised about the theory, they can understand the procedure. So this is a real lab procedure, the logical part, that in order to take any number from the user, first we have to take the number from the user. Then we have to initialize some variables, fact and I. So it is an incremental approach, iterative approach. We have to keep on multiplying the number. So we have to take certain variables like fact and I. I will be initialized with 1 because we have to go from 1 to that number, and we have to take a number fact which will be initially assigned with 1. If we will take 0, it is going to change the procedure, and fact is equal to 1 will not affect the result because the factorial of 0 is also 1. So let's understand, this is the code we are going to use. It is known as source code in Python programming language. In order to take any input from the user, we will be using this input function. All the Python users know that input function by default gives string value. On that, no calculation can be performed. So here we are using int to to typecast this result so that it can be used for calculation. So this statement will be giving the number for which we have to find the factorial. We are taking another variable of fact which is being assigned with 1, and we have an incremental variable here. Again we are assigning 1 because from 1 we have to reach to the number itself. And now the most important part, while loop. So this is an iterative approach. It will keep on iterating and repeating until I will become the number itself. So this whole process will be repeated till I will be equal to or less than num. When I value will exceed num, it will come out of the loop and the result will be printed using the print function. So let's start with the simulation now. And here the learners will be too excited to see the simulation. This is the interface. As you can see that we have some source code here. Now we know that computer cannot understand English language. So this code has to be converted into the machine language. And okay, let's start. So as you can see that we have some variables here, and Python learners know that we have variables like global variables, we have local variables. So now let's understand the significance that how virtual labs help the child conceptualize the background process of computer. Since computer is a black box, all we give input, it processes it, and some output is returned to us. So these virtual labs are also showing, conceptualizing the whole idea. So if I will click on start, it will be asking me from the prompt. Now let me add 4 here. Now 4, as you can see, is assigned to num. Now a user must be surprising that why do we have to do this data segment, stack segment and heap segment? Because high level programming languages like Python, they do not store direct numbers in the variables. All they store is reference to the main object, and the raw data is being stored in the computer memory. And we have partitions like data segment, stack segment and heap segment. Now all the global variables come under data segment, all the local variables comes under stack segment, and all the dynamically allocated variables come under heap segment. So it is also helping a child to visualize that how data comes in variables being temporarily stored in all these different memory locations and ultimately in the registers of the CPU. We know that registers are very fast memory. So data is being stored in these registers to make the process fast. So you don't get to see in the background process that how your result is being calculated in fraction of second, but it is involving so many steps. First, the source code is converted into machine language, and then data is being transferred to these registers. The calculations happen over there, and the result is fetched back into the variables. So let me show that I told you we have fact variable which is initially assigned with the value of 1, and this variable will store the product of all the numbers. Then we have a variable I, which is an incremental variable. It is used to set the condition of while loop. Initially it is 1 and it will keep on increasing until it will be equal to 4. And this variable 4 is being saved in register now. So this visualization, this abstract concepts cannot be taught in the class. And again these variables one by one, they will be stored in the registers like this, and then it will keep on checking the value of I. The value of I was less than 4, the condition is true. So these two instructions will execute now. 1 into 1, because the initial value of fact is 1, I was also 1. So 1 into 1 will be 1 and it will be stored in fact now. Now it will keep on repeating the steps and save the variables with the values. So that's how, it is the iterative approach. It will be, repeating. Now 2 is also less than equal to 4. The condition is true, this condition is true. So these two instructions will be executed again. The value of fact will be increased to 2 now. Right now fact is holding 1. Now you can see the value of fact will be 2. That's how we have to keep on updating the values of these variables. 2 plus 1 will be 3. Here we were incrementing the value of I. Now it will again check that is the value of I less than equal to num. So the condition will be checked here again. It is less than 4, which is true. So again fact will be holding a new value now. So it is making the child learn about the source code and how these process is happening in the background of computer. Here the value of I is incremented by 1, which becomes 4. And see how it is being done step by step. So even if a learner does not have a teacher at a moment, he is sitting at the comfort of their homes, he can still understand virtual labs and the concepts of Python. Now the value of 4 is equal to 4. It is true, still true. So it will happen one more time and the fact is now 24. So I value will be 5 now. Now the condition will be false. It will check that is 5 less than 4, which is false. So now is the time to come out of the while loop and the iteration will be stopped and the user will be getting output 24. So if we say that what is the factorial of 4, we will be multiplying 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which will be equal to 24. So this is a simulation of finding the factorial of any given number. And I think it is, bridging the gap between the practical concepts and the theoretical concepts, because we have no dearth of theoretical concept. What we lack is some resources which can make the child visualize the abstract concepts. And it is actually, changing the passive classrooms into active classroom spaces. And once a child will be done with the simulation, then they can also go for self-evaluation.
Ma'am, before we begin with the self-evaluation, we would like to know that we already have the computer labs in schools.
Yeah.
And how can they add the virtual labs for computer science? They can add more value to the already existing computer labs, because how can they guarantee self-experimentation?
Yes, so in the current scenario, we do have physical laboratories for computer science, but we have some, lacking the infrastructure in terms of hardware and software. Not every institution has equal, hardware capability to run sophisticated programs. So in those scenarios where we do not have enough infrastructure, where a child cannot access all these modern tools and technologies, virtual labs can be proved path-breaking, because as we can see that they are not, partially doing any partiality in terms of infrastructure. They provide safe, accessible sandbox environment. When I say sandbox, that means they are 100% safe to use. When we talk about the virtual labs in chemistry, physics, biology, we do have, some hazardous chemicals. Like in chemistry, we cannot do the experiments with all the harmful chemicals. But in computer science, we do have risk as well. We have the risk of, data corruption. We have risk of making some changes in the settings of computer. So in those scenarios where a child is afraid of doing the practical implementation of programs, it is providing safe sandbox environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we don't have much time left, so I would request you to quickly let us go through the self-assessment.
Sure. So virtual labs is also, helping the teachers in self-assessment, because they are providing these MCQ modules. When a child, after doing simulation, they can test that how much they have grasped. So which of the following statements about indentation in Python is true? So indentation is optional. No, it is not optional, and it is mandatory in Python. So just after reading the question, a child can understand their knowledge and they can do this. Let me guess some questions wrong as well. Okay, and then after doing the assessment part, a child can click on submit. So these are the modules which is going to assess the students that what is their understanding, and if there is something wrong they can again visit the virtual labs because they are accessible 24/7, they are repeatable, you can perform the same experiment again and again. So in that terms it is giving a learner more autonomy, it is learner centric.
So do the learners get the correct answers while doing the self-assessment as well?
So that option can be added, and there is one important option of feedback here. While executing or navigating the virtual labs, if you feel that something can be added to it, so your valuable suggestions are always welcome and you can give the feedback to us.
Okay, and like you said that virtual labs are great tool for teachers to do the assessment. Would you like to tell us something else about it as well?
Yeah, so I think that in today's environment where technology is rapidly changing, I would say that virtual lab is not just a tool. It is a transformative tool which is changing the scenario of learning, and it is a tool which can empower the learners, because post COVID we have seen that students are doing everything on DIY mode. So it is making the learners doing things in collaboration. It is also instilling 21st century skills that teacher can use this virtual labs integrate this in their classroom teaching. They can also assign the modules to the students where they can work in groups, they can collaborate, it will enhance their communication skills, creativity and critical thinking.
Okay, and what could be the ideal role for teachers in virtual labs as it's driven by learners?
So teachers again have to take the center stage. Now they are teachers, but in virtual labs they have to play the role of mentors, enablers, because they have to integrate these virtual labs in classroom teaching. They have to direct the students to Diksha portal. They have to tell them that how it has to be accessed, how it has to be done. Maybe before introducing any concept in the class, I think teachers should motivate the students to first explore the virtual labs so that they can gain more clarity and more retention of the concept.
Wonderful. So this program particularly was equally beneficial to teachers as well as students. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us today. It was a wonderful interaction and we have learned definitely so much from this simulation that you just shown. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all the viewers for being with us. I really hope that you learned the simulation, and like ma'am said, in the absence of teachers, students can perform these simulations with the help of virtual labs, and they are available on Diksha. So all the very best, and thank you once again. The next program that you are going to watch is going to be at 12 o'clock. Let me just give you a glimpse of the schedule. We have a lot of programs lined up for the entire day. The next program is of mathematics, which will be at 12 o'clock for all the students studying in class 9th. And the topic is going to be quadrilateral. And so many more programs are there, you can see in the schedule. Apart from this, tomorrow sharp at 10 o'clock, we'll come back again with a series of virtual labs, and the topic of discussion is going to be demonstration of simulation on soil types. This is going to be for social science, and this is for 10th students, the students who are studying in class 10th. So with this, we are wrapping up this particular program, and all the students of class 4 and class 7, if you have yet not purchased your textbooks, please go ahead and purchase your textbooks. You can even buy it from Amazon, Flipkart and NCERT official website. Apart from this, we also have to tell you, कला उत्सव आप देख सकते हैं PM eVidya चैनल नंबर 1 से लेकर चैनल नंबर 8 तक, और साथ ही साथ चैनल नंबर 10 से लेकर चैनल नंबर 12 पर। कला उत्सव में बहुत सारे बच्चे पूरे देश भर से अपनी कला प्रस्तुति करेंगे, और आप उन्हें देख सकते हैं PM eVidya चैनल्स पर, तो उन्हें देखना बिल्कुल मत भूलिएगा। इसी के साथ हम अपना ये कार्यक्रम यहीं समाप्त करते हैं। आपका दिन अच्छा हो, ऐसी हम आशा करते हैं। मैं हूं तन्वी खुराना और मुझे दीजिए इजाज़त। नमस्कार।